Single dad Ethan Walker had spent the last 5 years trying to keep life stitched together with nothing but calloused hands, quiet prayers, and the love he carried for his little daughter, Lily. Every morning before sunrise, he packed her lunch, braided her hair, and left her with old Mrs. Rowan from next door before heading to work at the lumber mill. It wasn't the life he dreamed of, but it was honest work, enough to keep food on the table and a small roof over their heads. But that particular winter morning, when the frost crusted the windshield and the sky sat dark and heavy, Ethan felt something strange tugging at him. He couldn't explain it, but something inside whispered that the day would change everything. As he drove down the deserted highway, headlights slicing through the fog, he noticed a tiny figure on the side of the road. At first he thought it was an animal, then he thought maybe it was trash or a bundle of clothes. But no, it moved. It shivered. His heart kicked. Ethan pulled over so hard his truck skidded. He jumped out, boots crunching on frozen gravel, and rushed toward the shape. When he got close enough, he froze. It was a little girl, maybe 4 years old, in a torn dress, barefoot, shaking like a leaf in winter wind. Her hair was matted, her face streaked with dirt, and her tiny arms wrapped desperately around herself. She looked like she had been standing there for hours, maybe all night. "Sweetheart," Ethan whispered softly, kneeling. "Are you hurt? Are you alone?" She looked up, and Ethan felt like someone had cracked open his ribcage. Her eyes, big, hazel, terrified, held a kind of pain he had only ever seen in soldiers who returned from war. Pain far too heavy for such a tiny body. She opened her trembling lips and whispered, voice thin as a dying candle, "Sir, please don't leave me." Ethan's throat tightened so hard it hurt. "I won't," he said instantly, coat already coming off. He wrapped it gently around her. "I'm not going anywhere." The girl leaned into him, slowly, like she didn't know how to trust. But when his warmth touched her skin, she broke into sobs so deep and raw they cut through the cold morning air like a blade. Ethan lifted her effortlessly, the way he used to lift Lily when she was small. "What's your name, sweetheart?" She clung to his shirt with trembling fingers. "Arya." Ethan swallowed. "Where's your mama, Arya, your daddy?" Her little lips trembled. She opened them, closed them, then finally whispered the words that would stay in Ethan's heart forever. "Mama ran, Daddy hit me, I fell, I woke up here. I don't know where they are, sir, please don't let them find me." Ethan felt something inside him ignite, something fierce and protective. Whoever had thrown her away like she was nothing, if he ever found them. He inhaled slowly, trying to keep his voice gentle. "You're safe now, I promise you. No one will hurt you again." Arya's tiny hand clung to his shirt, like he was the only anchor she had left in the world. Ethan carried her to his truck, buckled her in, and drove straight back home, not the mill. Work could wait. This little girl couldn't. When Lily opened the door, rubbing sleep from her eyes, she gasped when she saw Arya. Without hesitation, without question, she reached out her hand. "Hi, I'm Lily," she whispered softly. "You look cold, want my blanket?" And just like that, Arya found the first sliver of kindness she had probably ever known from another child. Ethan warmed her with soup, washed her clothes, found Lily's smallest pajamas, and wrapped her in soft blankets by the fire. Arya watched everything like she expected someone to yell at her, hit her, or drag her away at any moment. Whenever Ethan walked past her, she flinched so hard it broke him. Slowly, gently, he sat on the floor beside her. "No one in this house hurts children," he said softly. "Not ever." Arya looked at him, tears gathering. Even if I do bad things." Ethan shook his head firmly. "There is no bad child, only bad people who hurt them." And for the first time since he found her, Arya relaxed, just a little, into the blanket. By evening she fell asleep against his chest, tiny fingers gripping his shirt, as if afraid he would disappear. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Ethan stayed awake watching the fire, Arya curled against him. He knew what he had to do. He had to call Child Protective Services. He had to report this. But the moment he thought of Arya being put into a system he had seen fail so many children, his stomach twisted. Before he could think too long, there was a knock on the door. A hard one. A dangerous one. Ethan stood up slowly, shifting Arya behind him as she woke with a whimper. He opened the door an inch. Two men stood there, rough, unshaven, eyes cold. "You found a little girl," the first one asked, voice low. Ethan's heart dropped. "Why?" Ethan asked. "She ran away," the man growled. "Belongs to us." Arya whimpered behind him. "That's them. Please don't let them take me." Ethan didn't hesitate. He slammed the door. Locked it. Grabbed his phone with shaking hands, but not to call the authorities. He called Sheriff Dalton, an old friend one he trusted. Within minutes, sirens approached. The two men tried to run. They didn't get far. Sheriff Dalton burst into the cabin, breathing hard. "Ethan, you did the right thing. That girl, she's part of a case we've been trying to solve for months. Human trafficking ring. Her parents weren't her parents. They ran with a group. Those men dangerous." Arya shook violently. Ethan knelt beside her. "You're safe now, they're gone." And she did something she hadn't done before. She hugged him first. The next few weeks were filled with interviews, therapy, court hearings. But Arya never slept unless she was near Ethan or Lily. She clung to Ethan's shirt every time someone new entered a room. She cried when he stepped outside. She whispered, "Don't leave me," every night. And every night, Ethan answered the same way. "I'm here, I'm not going anywhere." The court wanted to place her in foster care. Ethan fought it. He fought harder than he had ever fought in his life. He went through inspections, background checks, interviews. And through it all, Arya held his hand. One afternoon, after months of waiting, the judge read the final decision. "Mr. Walker, the court recognizes the extraordinary emotional bond between you and the minor child, Arya. Effective immediately, you are granted temporary guardianship, with strong consideration for permanent adoption." Arya gasped, covering her mouth. Lily screamed with joy. Ethan felt tears burn his eyes. When they stepped outside the courtroom, Arya tugged his sleeve. He knelt so she could whisper in his ear, just like that day on the road. But this time her voice wasn't afraid. It wasn't broken. It was hopeful. Warm. Alive. "Daddy, can I call you Daddy now?" Ethan's breath broke. He lifted her into his arms, hugging her hard enough to stitch every broken piece of her back together. "You already are my daughter," he whispered, "from the moment I found you." And Arya, the little girl once abandoned on a frozen road, rested her head on his shoulder. Finally home. Finally safe. Finally loved.